Hi, hello, hello, hi, and welcome to all our hearts and minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good and the bad, the concerning or uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimi, our passionate heart,
Yeah, yeah.
and me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a new week. We're in a new month. It is
Yes.
the 11th month of the year.
Right?
we are here. And yeah, it's interesting. Well, we just know it's at the end of the year. It's always a crazy time, but we're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna jump into it. Let's do our checkup. How have you been doing? How are you feeling?
Uh, I'm doing
Uh,
some real life evaluation and reevaluation in here. But
oh yes.
in terms of, I'm alive and well, and
Mm,
we're getting through it. Sometimes we should remember how grateful we should be for every little thing, because that sometimes helps put things in perspective. But
for real.
just I'm just it was a rough week. I had to have
Mm,
a whole conversation with you before
yeah,
and because I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just like, the world, I just can't deal with it. No, but no, in all honesty, family's good, I'm good, alive and well, and yeah, just reevaluating some stuff. But how are
Yeah.
you? How are you? Please tell me something better than what's going on with me, because please.
No, yeah, it's good. And I was thinking, Charlemagne always says this. I like when people ask him how he's doing, and I really like it. Charlemagne is up and down as a character, but
It sure is.
I give props where props is due, and he always says, when people ask how you're doing, I'm blessed, black, and highly favored, and
Amen.
amen. I really love
Mm-hmm.
that. Like at the end of the day, I still, as long as you're still feeling that way, that means you're always in a solid place. Because
Right.
when you're highly favored, your
Mm-hmm.
portion, your portion, you will receive your portion. You will
That's
be
right.
blessed. Your blessings won't be robbed for you, because what's for you is for
It's
you,
for
right?
you. That's right.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and sometimes it's good even for myself to remind myself of that, regardless of anything, because they say, regardless of what's going on around you, it's like, just always remember you're blessed and highly, I keep on saying flavored, highly favored. And that is a comforting thought. So
Yes,
I
it
will
is.
say that I
It
am
is.
good. Yeah, I'm good. I um i'm getting that early. I just, the
Mm-hmm.
crazy rush for the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like
Oh my God.
it's not like even like the commercial pressures, like we know is like slowly creeping up, because as soon as Halloween is done, they start going gung ho, right? But the nature of my work, I work in advertising, and like all advertisers care about is that big shopping season coming up, which is Black
That's
Friday, right?
right.
So there's a lot of activity and a lot of just anxiety and stuff going on in my work life, where I'm just like,
Right?
okay. But otherwise, that's work. Work is always going to have something. It's never going to be 100%,
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
just by the nature of it, it's work. You're working for somebody. It's not you don't have
Well, even
control
if
of
you work
everything.
for yourself, it's work. You're not relaxing on a beach. You're working. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
it's work. Like
yeah.
please on.
And
But
so, but otherwise, everybody's good, family's good, and so
yeah,
once that's going on, then everything else is, you work on everything else as we go through
right?
life, right?
Mhm.
So, yes, and so that's our check-in. We're doing
Mhm.
okay. The times have been better, but we're doing okay, so
Right?
that's good to hear.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll jump in. We're gonna do kind of like a casual show,
Mhm.
in that we're not going to be so by the books and by the schedule and the time. We're just going to talk about what's been going on in the
It's
world,
popping.
what's
Mhm.
popping. And so the first thing we just want to get out of the way is we wanted
Mhm.
to say rest in peace to an icon, a pop culture icon,
Yup.
excuse me, which is Matthew Perry. And Matthew Perry came to fame on iconic show called Friends. I mean, Friends is
Yeah.
a controversial. It's a controversial show for Black people. Maybe doesn't need to be, but it is. And he passed away. I think now that I feel like it's actually been a week now that I think it was last weekend. So yeah, it's been about a
Mm-hmm.
week since he's passed, and obviously people are devastated because he died at 54. That's not old.
That's young.
And,
That's
and
young.
yeah, and it's interesting for me personally because he had released a book within the last year or two. I can't remember, but he was going around to a lot of podcasts and doing a lot of media. I know that because he wrote a book. And what I was surprised to know, I don't know if people who knew him, who are more closer to his career, knew this, but I did not know he had such a bad drug and alcohol problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really bad, in which this man has had multiple surgeries on his stomach because the pills that he was taking pretty much eroded. He
Messed
blew
him
his
up,
he pretty
boy.
much his stomach blew up a couple of times, like literally.
Wow.
And so yeah, they said that they found him in one of his homes with friends. And it's funny because at first initial when the news broke, I mean, it's not good to talk about people's problems when they die because kind of like, damn, can we at least mourn the person,
Right?
give them a respectful mourning before we just jump in and be like, but I guess
Oh,
it's
it's from drugs. I know.
yeah, but
I
it's
know.
hard. It's but and on the other hand, it's like I guess it's hard when you've had such a public battle, like when Whitney died, and like when or
Yep.
anybody who's had a public battle with substance abuse. It's like
Hmm.
it's like yeah, it's hard to people just that respect just goes out the window, unfortunately, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, they said they didn't find any drugs around him, but I mean they haven't done an autopsy or anything.
Right?
And but also somebody he's had a long battle with drugs. His cardiac health was probably really bad anyway.
Shot to shit. It's
Shot to
done.
yeah, you
Hmm.
said it. It was already shot to shit. And honestly, a lot of people who have who've abused drugs for a long time, that's usually how they die, by some type of cardiac arrest. And I believe that's what they said happened to him. But anyway, we want to remember he was an iconic character in
He
Friends. He was
sure
actually
was.
one of the more likable ones. Chandler
Yeah.
Bing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is half Canadian and did live in Canada for a while. He grew up and he has a connection with our Prime Minister Trudeau. He has a story where he talks about where he beat up Trudeau in high school.
I
And
could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
and
Yeah.
so at least we could say it's always sad when somebody goes before their time, but he faces demon in some way or shorts
Yeah.
some form, right, shape or form. And even if he went out, if that was the reason he went out, he still had a public battle and he had his ups and his
Well,
downs.
and that's what
Mhm.
I wanted to talk about briefly. And
Yeah,
I do not mean to speak ill of the dead,
yeah,
but when it was Whitney Houston, they threw out
right.
all of her business about her drug
That's a
habits
good
right
point.
up in the street,
That's a
right
good
up
point.
in it. And so I don't want to disrespect him and his
Hmm.
legacy, but you could see even in Friends, the show,
Hmm.
that he changed. He came
Yeah,
in and he
that's
lost a
true.
lot of weight like
That's a good
really
point
quickly.
because
And I wasn't a Friends advocate, like don't get it
no,
twisted. I
yeah,
didn't
we know
really
why.
watch
Yeah,
the show.
mhm,
Nah, you know why.
yeah,
But for the most part, I did catch a show or here or two or there.
mhm,
And as social media started to climb, there's different
mhm,
memes that he was even
yeah,
involved in. So
yeah.
but you could see in his career, like
Change, eh? That's
he
a good
was
point.
on something. He was on something. It wasn't talked about, right?
I was
But
actually
it
go
was
ahead.
you could see it on him, like you could see it physically deteriorating his body.
Mhm.
And he got really really skinny really quickly. And I'm not saying that you can't, like, don't get me twisted, but there's a different look for somebody who's on drugs
Oh
and
yeah, come
gets
on.
slim very quickly than somebody who has naturally progressed to get slimmer. No, there's a
Mhm.
difference. And so I'm sorry to hear that whatever drug habits that he had took that much of an effect on his body,
Mm,
where it
mm,
was shutting it down.
mm,
Literally, it was shutting it down. And so, um prayers up to his family. Seeing that he's a Canadian, we want to, shout out his mama.
mhm,
We're going to keep you in our prayers, and I'm sorry that this happened to your son. But what I do want to say is, we're going to keep the same energy with Matthew Perry that we did with every other person who has died from drugs, such as DMX, such as who just died not that long ago, from
mhm.
related to drugs.
Yep.
Whitney Houston, who,
Ooh,
so we're going to keep the
they did
same.
her dirty.
They did her damn dirty, okay? Especially since her legacy. Like, don't, like, come on. So I want the energy that we had for Whitney, I want
Mm,
that to remain. So, if it is that we come to find out that it's because of drugs,
mm.
ultimately, he doesn't even have to be taking drugs right now.
No,
It's
because
that he had a long stint of
yes,
drug
yes,
usage,
long, very long.
very long, like over a
Mm,
decade. Okay.
mm,
And so it takes a toll on your body. So even if he's not currently taking the drugs, in my eyes, he still
yeah,
died from
a
drug
substance abuse.
abuse,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So, but that's just how I feel about that. But prayers up, to his family. R.I.P. to Matthew Perry. But we're gonna keep the same energy, okay? Yeah,
That's a good point.
because I'm
Something that
sorry.
was what I read, like what that just touched. We can move on, but that just touched another thing. And you know what? This when we talk about drugs, we talk about like what we're facing in our cities. Like all the big cities are having an issue with like this fentanyl problem and people who are
Mm-hmm.
like there's a different kind of drug on the streets. If you see the people on the streets, this ain't no regular regular, like
No,
it's fentanyl. Like fentanyl has people like
it's
zombies in the
it's
streets.
invaded, from what I'm hearing, because I'm not in like that, you understand?
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, it's literally getting to every sector of drug, like
Mhm,
every
yep.
sector of drug, like whether it's cocaine, whether it's Percocet,
Heroin.
like it's
Mm,
being laced with
yep.
all of these, with fentanyl. So
Yeah, everything is
it
laced. Yep.
we gotta, I'm listen.
And
People gonna do
now
what they're gonna do. You
from
understand?
what I
Just be
heard
safe, as
and
safe as you can.
from what I heard in Vancouver is now they want fentanyl and now they're mixing the fentanyl with this horse tranquilizer. So that's why you see this, like I'll say I work downtown, so I see them. There's like literally like standing frozen or sitting frozen, like literally swaying in the swaying in
Right?
the wind because like this mixture. But anyway, we don't want to
It's
get into that. But
deadly. It's
it is,
deadly.
well, what that's one thing we know. But what I
Mm-hmm.
was going to say about Matthew Perry is when I read his Wikipedia, and he started abusing alcohol. Let's say he started abusing alcohol
Mm-hmm.
at a very young age, like
Very young
about
age. I think
I
he
think I
was
saw
like,
14.
yeah, I was just gonna say like 13, 14 years old. Like,
Yes, right? And
yeah.
then like you said you saw the progression. So what I when I read his story, it was like, yeah, because he said when he was on set, when he already had a drug. He was already into drugs before he got, but he
Right.
was like controlled, right? So when he first got into Friends, he didn't get high or drink on set. Like that was a rule he had. He was very adamant.
Yeah, he
But
didn't
he
keep
said
that rule
after
too long though.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. After a few years, I think after a couple of years,
Yeah.
he was like, he says there are times he doesn't even remember. I was like, damn, you're good. Like you went to work, you don't even remember what you did, but you did
See?
something.
Right?
um, mhm.
But
But
all
yeah,
in all, I think that the industry itself, I think, has had a negative light
oh
shined on
yeah,
it with every single death of these famous people from drugs. And you have to wonder why. Like, you have it all, you have it in front of you rolled out, and yet you're still, there's something missing that you're trying to some void that you're trying to fill with these drugs, and
hmm,
the easy access of the drugs, and the people who are willing to keep it hush hush so that you can take the drugs. Anyway, that's a whole different topic, but you know what,
yeah, but
Matthew
it's too
Perry,
much.
I
Whew.
hope you rest in peace. I really do hope that your family is able to get through this, rally around them, and hopefully we can get through this with them, somehow with our prayers. But um, Yeah, R.I.P. to Matthew Perry. You know,
Ooh, R.I.P.
right? Just
So,
speaking of life in our checkup, we're
right,
just
yeah, well,
speaking
that's
of life and think. Well, look how easy
it's,
it could. It's precious. Life is precious.
it's
That's what this is
precious.
showing us. You know.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
true. So we're gonna move on to something a little more lighthearted, I
A
guess. It
little.
depends. It depends how serious you take oxtail robbery.
The man took
um.
the oxtail. Ay.
So
Whew.
there's a story that has been making its rounds this week about. Ooh, you okay there?
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry
My-
about that. Having technical difficulties over here with this damn mic, but you know, we're back on. We're back on. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so two men were arrested in the Houston area in Texas. Um, and with over $1,000 worth of oxtail packages. I don't know if you saw the
Imagine.
photos, but it's
I saw the whole video of the arrest and all. I made sure.
oh,
Yes, I made
but
sure.
I saw photos of the police laying out the packages of meat.
Of
I see a
oxtails, yes.
oxtail, and I see about, I don't know, about 30 packs of the packages, like they went in.
hmm Yeah,
So
they took some shrimps too. They took some shrimps.
oh
The
Lord.
oxtail was the prime. That was the
Oh.
prime thing, right? Because oxtail is
We,
very expensive right now. But they took some
mhm.
shrimps. Okay, they took some steaks, some
Okay,
high
that's
cut steaks,
all premium types of
premium
meat.
things. But the oxtails right now in the states is like, I think that particular area is like $10 a pound. So just a small little bag of oxtails.
Kim, $10 USD.
Yeah, put it on the USD on top of it. So big money for the little oxtail. So it's $40. Like you're getting, and you have to remember, oxtail's heavy, right?
Yeah,
It's a heavy meat. So $10, that's like one oxtail, like literally one piece. Because you know what I mean? Like
it's not
that's
a
a half
lot of
a
meat.
pound.
Yeah, for
It's
one.
not. It's
You're
not.
gonna
It's not
get
a lot.
at least, when you buy oxtail, even if you're conservative, you're gonna buy at least maybe
Three,
four
four
pounds.
pounds you need
Three,
at
four
least.
pounds. Even if you want to be
And that's just
conservative
for a little family of
for a
two or
family.
three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Treating yourself for a little something something.
right? But
Mhm.
I just wanted to say quickly how tables have turned, because back in history, where oxtails come from, let's just go back there. In the Caribbean culture, oxtail, is a big staple.
Mhm.
Especially in Jamaica, oxtail
Yep.
is like the thing. You understand?
Mhm.
I
Yep.
love me some oxtail, especially how my mom make it. Ooh wee! On some rice and peas. Don't do it to me. Anyhow, back to the point. I'm getting off track. But it was a poor cut of meat. And
Yeah.
so, slaves were given this poor cut of meat. And we had to do some miracles. And
Mhm.
even in the States, it's same thing. It's
Yeah, like
rooted from slavery.
chitlins. Yeah, they're actually like
Chitlins,
jerk.
the worst part and it's
Mm.
just so funny how tables have turned, and now they're stealing oxtail, because it was us black people that made oxtail popular in what it is today, where
Mm.
it's a delicacy and people want to have it, they want to enjoy it, they see how tasty it can be if you just put some love into it. And so it's just so funny to see that oxtails are being stolen when it
Mm.
was discarded like trash just a few, like let's say 50 years ago, okay, or 60 years ago. It was disregarded like it was trash. And now look, that goes for pig's feet, that goes for chicken feet, that goes for all the poorer cuts of the meat. And
Mm.
so I'm just, they're stealing oxtails now,
They're
okay.
stealing oxtails. Well, it's interesting because it's not even like the police were on a wild goose hunt for them, because what I'm reading here is the police just happened to notice a large amount of the meat packages in the back seat of the vehicle and decided to pull these guys over. So I'm like, you mean to tell me they hit up 4 stores? Apparently, what they went to about 4 stores and were packing up this meat, stealing this meat, and just randomly, some constable on the highway saw the meat in the back seat and decided to
Yeah,
pull them
okay.
over. Right? So I don't know, but anyway, the two men have been arrested and were set for a bond for 2,500 each. Hey, I think
I
that's
think
fair.
that's fair. I think
That's
that's
fair.
fair because
Mm,
supposedly they had over $3,000 worth of oxtail meat.
yeah. Oh
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? And so I mean, that's only fair, right? However, miss me with the bullshit that the police officer saw in the thing. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. I just don't believe that.
it sounds
Um,
fishy.
it does sound fishy, especially since meat should be refrigerated. So for these men to just have what their profit would be sitting out in the back seat of the car, I don't know about that. I don't know about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But
Well, I don't
anywho,
know. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, interesting story. Unfortunately, whatever sale they had planned or black market sale they had planned, like American Thanksgiving is coming up around the corner, and maybe they were probably getting ready for that or getting, selling it around the hood or something, some the hood discount or something like that. But unfortunately, the folks won't be getting the hookup.
no.
The meat's
And
been
them
seized.
oxtails look kind of big, like those damn
Yeah, I haven't seen
those
oxtail like
oxes were
that.
dep on steroids or something. How come the tail looks so big? It looks so.
No, that
I
was
was like,
definitely some genetically
okay.
modified
It
oxtail.
had to be. I don't care what nobody tells me.
I
Okay,
never seen
ox has a
oxtail so
tail, girl.
big.
Nah, fam. Nah, fam. I've been eating oxtail my whole life. Never. But you know what? Kudos to them. But what it's also saying, and I did want to notify, is that times are getting hard.
Mm.
Times are getting hard where people are stealing meat. I know it's a big joke and we're all like hee 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 about the
Yeah.
oxtails, but it just shows to the time that we're in where people are stealing meat to turn a profit on and can. You can before if someone stole meat from a grocery store, it was for personal consumption, not black market oxtails. Like what the hell is happening? It's
Hmm.
showing us where we're at right now in terms of, the global economy. They're stealing oxtails in these streets. Okay, like yeah, things is getting hard, Bridget. It's a get hard. Okay, who are you gonna sell it to? Restaurants? And as a restaurant owner, am I gonna buy that from the back seat of your car? Really? Okay, times is getting hard, but you know what? Let's key it up about the oxtails because I'm never gonna forget this. I cannot believe that in my time, in my generation, oxtails were being stolen. Because I remember a point in time when I was growing up where my mom, she could go to like, Highland Farms, which is it's a pretty good Italian style
Hmm.
grocery store here in Toronto. And I say Italian because mostly that I've ever seen, it's Italian people that own it or run it. And she could get it dirt cheap, like dirt cheap. There was a point in time where you could go to a grocery store and they'd just give it away, like, because they were throwing it away anyway. So to see now the evolution of oxtail. Anyways, move on from the oxtail because the people them they got caught anyways is probably all going to be destroyed and thrown away. All that good oxtail meat just thrown
Oh,
away.
that's the sad part.
That is the sad
Um,
part. But let's
yeah.
move on to Mr. Saucy. We got to
Oh
move on to
boy,
Saucy.
Saucy Santana. Ooh, Saucy Santana came to the defense of his friend, his goody friend, Carisha,
hmm And the
because
reason why is
yeah.
because okay, Carisha, they have an album that came out just
Mm-hmm.
recently.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
didn't
don't know if
even
we
listen
talked
to the
about that.
song. I never even listened to the song. I'll be honest
Mm.
with you. I'm over their whole music career. I am.
Mm.
I think they need to venture out and do other things. And I think that's what Carisha is trying to do. Um, but the record sales were really low.
Yeah.
Like real low. Like in the first week they only sold about 10,000 units, which is
Yeah.
really low, especially for the city girls. And so DJ Academics felt like he needed to go in on yet again another black woman. Again.
Mm-hmm.
And Saucy wasn't having it. Saucy came to Carisha's defense and tell the people what Saucy had to say. Tell the people what Saucy had to say.
Oh, Fussy went off. So he first went in and said something like he was gonna pull up um basically he addressed it again. We know this about academics. He's been criticized for being a little bit too free with his comments towards women, black women. And so he said, "Pull up to your headquarters. Niggas is in the streets," he replied, referring to, "I'ma be in the road. What the fuck is someone meeting you at your headquarters for?" So it's because uh academics is pretty much saying, "I've put my address of my headquarters many times. Nobody's come here," because there's been other men that academics has been in a few, he's been in a lot of, let's say, internet beefs because he lives on the internet, fine. But I mean, serious enough with serious rappers like Big Gip. I think it was what's his name? Yeah, I think it's a Gip, Big Gip, and a couple other people he's had this issue with, right? And even I think Nikki's husband got
Oh
into this
yeah.
with him.
Everybody. There's not
Um
one person that likes DJ Academics, like, to be honest.
and so he Saucy was pretty much calling him out. He's like, "Okay, you're telling us that okay, your quarters, you make it, you do this fake internet shit. You sit in a room full of cameras, and that's it. Like you're never outside. Nobody sees you outside, and that's true. I don't see that guy outside,
No.
not anymore. I don't know if he was.
No.
Maybe he was before, but I don't really see him outside like that since he stopped doing that show on Complex with Joe Budden. So he said, "I'm not trying to pull up to no headquarters. I want to meet you in the streets. Let's get active." And then this is what got uh you know there was another follow-up from academics where he said academics said something and he was pretty much going in like, "Okay, so people listening, the Jamaican slang for a gay man, I think it's active, but it's like we
Mm-hmm.
call them a batty boy." And
Yep.
so
Or Chich.
academics
Mm-hmm.
academics went on and said threw a whole bunch of batty boys around,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody knew what he's talking about. He's saying he doesn't like that stuff and da 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 da. And then so Saucy came back and said, "After I beat you, I'ma fuck you in your ass because you're a bitch ass nigga. That's what we do to you. You always pressing BBL. You always pressing a BBL fag. Bitch, you are sitting in your thick ass. Bitch, you sitting on your thick ass. Bitch, I got a BBL and you got a BBL." That's kind of funny. But what's not funny is a rape joke.
Yeah.
What we're not gonna do is
No, we're not
like
gonna do that.
Saucy.
Mm-mm.
That's like yeah, that's like not helping the cause right now. Um. So anyway, they've been going back and forth and whatnot, but it's kind of a joke, but it's not funny because obviously these things escalate. I don't know what's gonna escalate to if it's not like I mean, academic is a bitch. I'm not gonna lie, academics is a fucking bitch.
Yep. Can't stand him. Mm-hmm.
Sorry for my language, but that's just like I don't like that guy. And now everybody's kind of getting into it because it's escalated, and even Queen Latifah popped up.
Like, what
Like
the hell?
Queen Latifah,
What's going on?
when Queen Latifah's popping up, damn, you're really
Right?
getting out of
Too
hand.
damn much.
If Queen Latifah has to come out with a word when she sits quiet, she doesn't do anything like you said, unless she's doing a show or something, a show, a movie, you don't really, or the awards, you don't really see Queen Latifah online like that. I mean, I don't think, you know what I mean? And so she must have posted something on her stories after the whole back and forth was going on between Saucy and what's his name?
DJ
Academics.
Academics, yeah.
DJ Academics. She said, okay, so it's a post, but it's a repost. So she didn't literally write it. She posted off of that rapper Myzon's page. But it says, it's crazy to me how DJ Academics is crying scared to say anything to Saucy Santana because he's a gay man and he's scared of getting canceled, but has said some of the most outlandish, vile, disrespectful, and demeaning things to
That's right.
black women with absolutely no fear whatsoever. Brings me back to Malcolm X's quote: "The most disrespected, unprotected, and neglected person in America is a black woman." We've heard that quote many times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so pretty much Queen Latifah reposted that off of another page. Um,
You
damn, you
know
got
what?
Queen.
One second though. What's
Yeah,
sad is that Martin Luther King knew that back then, and it's still
yeah.
happening today.
Ooh, it's
Just
getting more pronounced now. Even
it's
now,
in
now
your
it's like more.
face now.
It's
Like
in your
it's
face
like,
now.
yeah, slapping you about. Like it's in your face. Like you can't even ignore it. You know. Anyway, yeah, but go on.
So, um,
Saucy Santana. Let me tell you something about Saucy. Okay, I understand you're defending your friend, which, you know what? It was actually refreshing to
yes,
see a black man, I don't care
yeah.
what you identify
Regardless,
with,
yeah.
protecting a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually awesome to see. However, you took it all the way left. Like you
With that
took it
rate.
too far left. Like
Mm,
now there's too much that's been at like now it's been turned and into something totally different
yeah,
that
I agree.
I can't get down with. Um Rape is not a joke. It's not funny. It shouldn't be an empty threat. It shouldn't be threatening to anybody. Rape is not a joke. I don't care if it's a man, if it's a woman. I don't care. It's not a joke. And so I don't know if you were trying to be entertaining when you were coming at DJ Academics, but I think you went too far. That's where I'm going to leave that. DJ Academics, you need to shut the hell up, okay, about black women. You need to hush up your mouth because last time I checked, when I looked at your chickmunk ass, you came from a black woman too. So I don't understand why do you have such disdain for black women? I really don't get it. But it's nice that somebody has jumped to our defense, even if they went too far. Um, but it hasn't just rested there. So today I'm going through these YouTube streets and I'm
Hmm.
hearing that DJ Academics was trying to recruit somebody to go take care of Saucy Santana.
Hmm.
You don't understand. Santana's daddy used to protect, was security for 50 Cent.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So Saucy, his daddy, I'm sure, showed him a thing or two how to whoop an ass. So I
I
don't
believe that.
know.
I
I don't know
definitely
if
believe that Saucy would kick DJ Academics
he
ass.
will kick you up and down the street, okay? But I think this is giving DJ Academics clout, and I think it's
Yeah.
furthering his brand. And I think if we were to honestly just ignore him, he'd have to think of a different gimmick. But you know what? He's not the first black man to make it big off of the backs of black women. Hint hint, Tyler Perry. Yeah, okay.
Woo.
We're not going to go there, but we had this discussion before. So, he's just another black man who was making it big, making money off of insulting black women. And so to me, I've never taken his opinion as fact. I've
Hmm.
never taken his opinion as something to even entertain. Period. You cannot come to me on such a defense with there's no logic behind it. Why are you so angry with black women? Maybe you need to go sit down in a therapy session with your mama and figure out why the hell you have such a negative look on black women. And it's been like this for years.
Yeah.
Years. Not just today. It's just today Saucy Santana had time for it. Okay? And he came for your ass and now you're trying to recruit people to go beat him up. Supposedly he's trying to look for someone who is bisexual of nature as well to go
Oh,
and
that's
beat him
true.
up.
I did see something like that.
Yeah, so it's disgusting. But then you want to come now and cry your little tattoo tears because you can't backlash on Saucy Santana because you're
Yeah, that was
afraid
weird. The
of
crying.
being canceled and all this stuff. Then how about you just shut your damn mouth? How
Keep
about
it
you
moving.
find a different angle? How about you do something different because this is not working for you? It's not because people are being turned off left, right, and center. You have Queen Latifah coming out of the woodwork. Really? Okay. And by the way, Queen Latifah, what the hell are you doing watching this drama with this? You too damn old for this girl. No, I'm joking. But she had a lot to say, and I'm glad she did step up and say something. It was nice that you know that she did have something to. A lot of people are siding with Saucy Santana. Believe it or not, a lot of
Yeah,
people are siding with him.
because like you said, we're like it's like you're still doing this, academics. You're still doing this.
Hmm.
It's like you don't learn. But I guess there's a reason for him not to learn. If you remember, we always have to remember everything. A lot of the things we talk about, going on in the culture, pop culture, whatever. It's we're in a social media. Everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants clickbait, and I think his formula, that is his formula. His target audience is young men, young black boys. I don't
Hmm.
think they're not even men. I can't even call them men. They're like his demo. I feel the people who really pay attention to him and watch his videos, they can't be older than 25.
Right?
And so this goofy shit is what resonates. This like misogynistic goofy shit is what
Yes, it
resonates
does.
with that.
But I think what makes real money, and we see it time and time again,
Mm.
is coming down hard on black women, and it has made people like what is his name, Kevin Samuels,
Oh God, yeah.
a millionaire. It has made Tyler Perry a billionaire. It has made DJ Academics feel like he can come out like this against Carisha. Like it has made so many people who they are today, just beating up the black woman, right? And so I lose respect for people who do that shit because it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
Where Martin Luther King wasn't wrong 60 odd 70 odd years ago, he wasn't wrong, he's still right
Malcolm
to this
X.
day. Sorry, Malcolm X,
Mm-hmm.
still to this day he's right.
Hmm.
And so I lose respect for people who try to gain some sort of success or platform off of tearing us black people down, especially when they are black men. I think that's what usually rubs me the wrong way. Is that you're a black man. Where do you think you came from? Like really and truly. But you know what? Let's move on from Saucy and DJ Academics because honestly, I don't think this is gonna die any day soon. I
Oh,
think they're gonna
should
drag this on just a little bit longer. Right? And so I guess we will get into the call out.
they call out?
Yes, and so this is the time where we put each other in the hot seat. We ask each other questions and we have to answer. I want to set up my question. Okay, so
Okay.
this past week, Sierra had a birthday, and her husband decided that he was going to rent out the entire Waffle House so that they could have. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't her birthday. No, it was her birthday. It was her 38th birthday. And
Mm.
so he rented out the entire Waffle House to have a date night with her. And people, I don't know, they have different perspectives on this. And so where my question lies is the Waffle House not good enough? He rented out the entire Waffle House. Is there really a problem with the Waffle House? Now, it has been said that this is one of her favorite restaurants.
Hmm.
Okay, this is one of Sierra's favorite restaurants. And is the Waffle House not acceptable for a man to rent out for his woman? Simple fact that he's renting out the entire space, the entire restaurant, means he's paying thousands on top of thousands of dollars
Oh,
to
of
have some
course.
chicken and waffles. You
I
understand
have a
what I'm saying?
question. Okay, context question here. Is it
Yes,
did they have people over, or was it just for them and their
it was
family?
just for them.
Okay.
It was just him and her. And it was, for her birthday.
Okay.
So is it wrong that Russell rented out the Waffle House? Should he have gone to a higher scale restaurant and rented it out? Is there
Absolutely not.
something wrong with this? And to answer my own question, I don't think there's a goddamn thing wrong with this. Okay, the man
Nope.
rented out the entire Waffle House. Now, when your man can rent out an entire restaurant, then maybe we can have this conversation. But until that time comes, the simple fact that he did that for her, I think is sweet. I think it's really sweet.
so,
He
so
knows what
was
her
there?
favorite restaurant is, and that's what
Mhm.
he did. Was it wrong to rent out the Waffle House? Should he have rented out a higher posh restaurant for her 38th birthday? And my
I have a
answer
question.
is the Waffle House did just fine. I think it was not wrong. I think he did a good thing, and his wife is going to love him for it.
I have a question. So, is it that people on the internet thought that was like a cheap gift or
Yes,
something?
that it was
Okay.
cheap and average, and that Sierra's not an average woman, and they're not average celebrities, and so why are we going to the Waffle House? And that the Waffle House is, I guess, underneath them.
Okay. Okay. So,
So the
yeah.
internet's having this whole debate of, well, is it bad that he rented out? No, I don't think it's wrong that he
I
rented
hate.
out the Waffle House at all. I think he did it for his woman. What's the problem?
I hate the internet. The internet needs to sit down. Listen,
Silly
this
you.
internet. The internet doesn't have anything to do. That's why they're on the fucking internet.
Right?
So
Just interneting. Hmm.
here's the thing. Absolutely, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Because you know why? Because he's probably taken her to every fine Michelin star restaurant there is already. They've been together for a good while now. Okay, so if he wants to take her somewhere that she enjoys, maybe she doesn't want that fancy dancy. Maybe she said, you know what, I just want to do something simple. I want to do something fun. What's more fun than going to your favorite fast food or whatever quick dining place and enjoying that and having time together without to yourselves. That's what makes it special. What makes it special is he got it because the Waffle House is always here, but for them to get it to themselves so they can create a curated experience, which I'm sure he did.
Yes, he did.
um
Hmm.
yeah, people on the internet is just they're just miserable, and they want to criticize. They criticize. They love to criticize Russell. So like
Everything.
every time, all the time. So.
One thing I did want to point out is that there are some celebrities, right,
Mhm.
who at one point in their life were just regular schmegular people.
They're
Okay,
regular people.
they're just before they made it big, they were regular people. Okay, now they've gotten big. They've gone to all the fancy restaurants. They've been flown
Mm,
out to Italy to have pasta. They've done
mm,
all of that. And sometimes the most genuine is going back to a point where they can just be regular schmegular people. And I think the fact that this man paid attention to his wife and what her desires are and what she likes, and he took heed on that, and he rented out the entire spot for just them. Now, like I said before, when everybody else can say that their man is renting out entire restaurants, then I think we can have something to say. In terms of this being a nice gesture, I thought it was really nice. I thought that it probably had her feel normal
mm,
and regular, because sometimes that's what famous people are really desiring, is not to have to dress up to go to the fanciest restaurants or have
mm,
paparazzi at the no, sometimes they just want to be that regular somebody who's going to the Waffle House to enjoy some chicken and waffles. I don't think
mm,
there's anything wrong with that, but the internet is interneting, and they all feel, there's a good portion of people that said, well, he's a millionaire, they have lots of money, like, why are they doing the Waffle House? But they didn't just do the Waffle House, they took over the Waffle House. Okay, so
yeah.
I think that puts it to a different level as well. And it was just something that she likes. Like, isn't that what he's supposed to do? Pay attention to his woman and give her what she likes, not what he thinks that she should want.
Or not
So
what the internet thinks that she should
right?
want.
Shoot, she probably had a good old fried chicken and waffles, yeah. And the
Mm.
chef back there was probably like, I can't believe I'm cooking for Sierra. I can't believe I'm cooking this fried chicken for Sierra. Like, I think it's a win-win. But yeah, so that was my quick question, like how you felt about that, because the internet
Ooh.
is interneting on the
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's internet. So, yes. So, what's
um.
your question for me?
Oh, I have a quirky one. Could get an interesting story from. My question was, what is the weirdest smell you've ever smelled?
Oh
And
gosh.
what's the story? And I'll give you time to think because I have a story.
Yes. Yes.
So I know you remember. So we went to school in Windsor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we know we went. I went to school in Windsor, border of Detroit, and so the town a couple hours east of us was London.
Yeah.
Remember, we had London Sports Weekend at Western
Yep.
University. So the
Mm-hmm.
neighboring school was in the town of London. It was another huge school, university, and it was called Western. And they have sports weekends. So
Yeah.
it was a time where I went to London Sports Weekend,
Yep. Me too.
and we
Yeah.
had and there was a party, and there is I don't know if I could even say his name. I'm not going to say his name because he's so popular in the fet soca fet world. He's
Yes.
and he's still active. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes. Matron. I'll put it out there. Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no. His name is Chax.
I thought you were talking about Tony Matron,
No, no,
because
no, I'm
he
not.
he was all up and down in the damn sports weekend, both Windsor and London. But anyhow,
Yeah, no,
okay.
no. I'm talking. So okay, so I didn't tell the story, so maybe you don't get it. So all right, so we're at a party,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a big crew for some reason from Montreal, from the Montreal Fet cult life Fet circles came to this particular London party, and there's a guy there, and his name, fuck, I'm not gonna say the name. I already
Don't say
kind of,
his name, but yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but he's big on this on the Fet circuit across Toronto and Montreal, but he came to
Mm-hmm.
London for sports weekend. Maybe I think he's
Mm-hmm.
probably friends with the DJs and stuff. And people who go to Fet, like he was a real Fet person. Like I don't know if he's Trini or whatever, but one of those places that they love soca Fets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
he was going ham. He was going ham the whole night, dancing the whole night, big mouth, everything. Is a big guy. You can't miss him, right?
Right.
So then he comes with me and my girls, and the soca music is now starting to get hot. So
Right.
he's in his bag. Then now
Mm-mm.
he want to come pick up everybody, and then he came and tried to pick me up, and the stench that was
Jesus.
coming off of his
Cut the
t-shirt,
kiss, lad. Because I can't.
Lord,
I can't.
woo!
Woo.
This stench that it was came off that man's t-shirt.
Mm-mm.
I
Off
wanted to
his
go to.
t-shirt.
Oh,
Jesus.
too bad it was a day that we didn't have hand sanitizer everywhere because
Oh
whoo, I
Lord.
would have wanted to anywhere that thing
Hose
touched
him
me back.
down. Hose
Like
him down.
the minute he came out of nowhere, the minute he picked me up, I was like, no, 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 no. I was giving the press like, no, put me down right now. The smell that's coming, even if you weren't okay, bad enough. Even if you weren't smelling, I don't know. I wouldn't be comfortable with you just coming out of nowhere and picking me up. I don't know you like that. And second, the stench.
Right?
Yo, instantly, like it wasn't even like maybe if
Oh.
I, it was a party time, I was drinking. Maybe if he didn't smell, I probably would have went with it. But that smell had me instantly being like, nope, absolutely not. Get the fuck away from me.
Nasa. Nasa. Yeah, no, I have a story. I have a story too. So yeah, I would have turned him down, yeah, and tell him say, you have to go take a shower, Richard, before you're all back. You understand? No, but that was very when you put it like that. Okay, so I have story time. So here in Toronto, we have a subway. Okay, we have a
Oh
train
boy.
system.
Woo! TTC.
The TTC will do it to you every
Every
time.
time.
Time. This time took the case for me. I had to get up and I had to walk out. and I had to walk out. Not wasn't even my stop, Brethren. You understand? I had to come off of that train and wait for the next one. So I'm sitting there on the train, minding my own business. Now I just want to set up how the
Yeah.
train works here. Okay, nobody talks to nobody. Nobody listen. Don't ask for no directions. Nobody's trying to help you. Everybody's into their mind, into their book, into their iPad, into the whatever. Listen to their music. So I'm sitting there, doodle reading my little passages on my phone, and this woman. Okay. So just above, when you're sitting down, like most transit, just above you is a bar that people can hold on to. So it wasn't really I to me I had a seat. So for me it wasn't packed. It didn't look packed. There wasn't a lot of people on the train where this woman had to be so damn close to me. But anyhow, so she put her arm up, reached up high, um to
So you're
get the
standing?
card. She
Were
was
you
standing
standing?
above me. I was
But
sitting
we.
down.
Oh, okay, you're sitting.
I
Okay.
was sitting down and she stood above me. And at first I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh, oh no. So where you're trying to source out where the hell that stench is coming from. So I'm like looking around like, oh no. What the hell? So I look up and at this it was in the summertime and I believe it was in August. And I look up and there's a woman. However, her armpit had an entire frontal wig in her armpit. Okay, she had a whole frontal wig in her damn armpit, Regin. Okay, and it just stunk to high heaven, Regin. Like I don't know why you're raising up your arm. First of all, if you don't have it taken care of, okay, if you don't want to shave, that's one thing. But
Yeah.
we understand that hair holds on to sweat. Sweat then produces all this BO. So you should be walking around with a deodorant and doing that every hour on the hour. Okay. This heifer had the nerve to put her arm up. There's a whole there was hair coming from she looked like a dude with
Mm.
if you never looked at her face, okay? And all you did was look at her arm and her armpit, she had enough hair to braid. Like honestly, and I'm looking up and I'm like, damn! I had to literally get up from my seat. I had to get up from my seat. I went around her and I was like, oh no. And then the train was about to stop. So I'm like, no, I need to come up off of this cart. I need to no, because it was starting to fill the air. And
Okay, yeah.
I was like the first I felt like it I felt like it was a gun of just stink that was shooting at me, right? Because I'm
Mm.
underneath her arm that's raised up and looks stink and just smells stink. And the whole place, I almost felt like, are people gonna think it's me? Because it's
Yeah.
not me, fam. I bathed my skin, okay? And
Mm.
so I got off. By the time I got off, I looked around. No word of a lie. Everybody is snuggling
Everybody
their nose. They're
everybody
trying to
cleared
put their
up.
nose down into their shirt. One woman was like, oh, she looked around dazed and confused, like, what is going on here? I was like, nah, fam, y'all can stay on this cart. Where I'm going, I don't need to rush. I could catch the next train, because they come every 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, fam, I can't even stay on this cart. The smell of this woman's BO, I'm telling you, saturated the entire cart because I looked
Ooh.
around before I got off and you could see it spread far, brethren. It spread all the way down because people are hold them nose, them are push them shirt and everything. And I was just like, this woman is too damn stink for me. I can't deal with this. Like,
Yo, you know what? Everybody's probably looking at you because she's standing in front of you. They're probably no, they don't think it's you, but it's like you're like,
but
damn, this
you don't
girl.
know. You don't
No,
know.
no, no. Here's the scenario. I think they know, right? So it's like, okay, you're like probably looking at her standing in front of you, and it's like, okay, it's this bad over here. I feel sorry for that girl. That
Right?
girl.
They were looking at me like poor woman. Okay, no, I got
Exactly.
up. I got up quick, fast, in a hurry. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even need to think twice about it because once I located that stench, I was like, oh no. Yeah.
No,
Oh
no,
no.
no.
You're not gonna let your stench come linger down on me over my head top. Are you mad? And then people are gonna think it's me and no, 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 no. We gonna get off this entire train. That's what we're gonna do. It was so bad, and it was like, do you not know this? Like, I wonder to myself, people that have that harsh BO, do
Yeah,
they not
highs. Yeah.
know? Like, do you not, how could you not know? Right? I remember when I was growing up, going through puberty, my mother said to me, if you can smell yourself,
So can everybody else.
there you go.
Mhm.
Everybody else can smell your stench. So put on your arm. Hell, damn, and the hair. It was the hair, Regin. It was the hair. You could fully braid it. Oh
the,
my
the hair
god.
the hair amplified the smell.
It really did. And I think that's what it is that you can't be hairy under there if you're not gonna take care of it. Like, you have to
Yeah.
regularly, you have to be taking at least 3 showers a day. You need to walk with some baby powders for underneath there,
It's
some
fine to have the
deodorant.
hair to your point, but you have to understand when you have hair, like
You
what's
just,
going, like
hey,
you can't
listen,
be anti deodorant when you're going around raw dogging your armpit
okay?
like that. Like it's like
Okay. And it smelled like the heifer never put on no damn deodorant, period. But anyway, we're gonna move on from her and her stinkness because I sure did. I had to come the hell up out of that cart, okay? Because people were looking around like, what is, you know, when people are all looking around in unison, like, what is that? Where did that come from? And they're like really perplexed. Well, that was me. And until I found the source and I said,
Mhm.
deuces, y'all can stay on this damn stink train. I'm not taking this for another 15, 20 minutes. You must be mad. You must be mad. And so we're gonna move on into the workout, people. Yes, this is where we work out our hearts and exercise our mental fitness, doing deep dive discussions on topics or our culture is being affected. And so one of oh boy, this is a topic that just recently this week has come up, okay? And everybody is up in arms, especially Atlanta. But so there is a food reviewer, and his name is Keith Lee. Now, this man, he has over 14 million people following him. Okay.
yeah, on
So
TikTok, yeah.
right? Okay. So we know that he has a presence, right? And people are listening to what this man has to say. There are
Mhm.
some people who have actually tried these restaurants after he's reviewed them.
Yeah, yeah.
It has been said that, you know, when he has a review of a restaurant, the patronship of the people, like,
Increase, yeah.
is drastically increases
Yep.
their business. And
Yes.
so he decided to take a trip on down to Atlanta. Now,
Mm. Ooh.
okay, Atlanta restaurants are not having it. Okay, all right. Well, he did do, particularly, I want to talk about, what is it, old lady gang,
There's old
which
lady
is
gang, and the actual big one is a real milk and honey.
the real milk and honey. And
Hmm.
so old lady gang is owned by Candy Barris, which is
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Atlanta
Housewives.
Housewives.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have said in the past, he's not the first, that her
Yep.
restaurant quality is kind of mid, you know, at
Yes, I
best.
heard that. I've heard that.
And I don't think it's really her passion, but she saw Candy has a way of making money. This girl
Mm.
has a way of making money, and she is not short of it. Trust me. And wherever she sees a business idea, she kind of jumps on it. However, in, you know, this industry of the food industry, you really have to be dedicated. And
Yeah.
so Keith Lee went to her restaurant, as well as, sorry, Honey and
The real milk and honey.
the real Milk and Honey. And he did not have very good things to say. However, he was very respectful with his review. He pretty much said that his experience was shit. He didn't like, the food. He didn't like the service. One thing I will say about him, he usually will send in his family and friends before he goes into this any restaurant,
Yeah. Yes.
because he wants to see how they're treated without this, I guess, celebrity
Yes.
behind them. And so his family did not have a very good experience for either restaurant. And so he starts to talk about his experience, and it gets out there to his 14 plus million people. It passed viral. Now it's on everyday news in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. It got big. Yeah.
it got really big, and he wasn't being nasty, and he never said that people had to listen to what he is reviewing and how he's reviewing it. He said, make your own choice, go and find out for yourself, but this is what happened when I was there.
Yeah.
They were charging us for stupid shit. First of all, can I get some butter for the biscuit? The biscuit is tough. I can't swallow the biscuit, I need some butter. They want to charge him $1. you know um I think for Candy's restaurant, he went and they didn't even want to seat his family that went
Hmm.
in ahead of him. They were
Yeah.
talking about an hour and a half to be seated and all sorts of things. But then when he rolled out the car, they rolled out the red carpet. And
Yeah.
so there's this debate, going on, because he was getting a lot of backlash from the Atlanta residents. And they were telling him all sorts of things, threatening his life, telling him he needs to come up out of Atlanta, telling me who's this retarded guy reviewing. That's what they said, not me. Don't come for me. I'm not politically incorrect that way. They were
Mm.
saying, who is this retarded man reviewing food? They were coming for him, to the point where he had to put his Atlanta tour of reviewing restaurants on hold
Mhm.
because he's receiving death threats. And he is a nice man. He's a man that has a family, he has a wife, and he's not, and kids. He's not trying to get in this deep over some biscuit. You understand?
No,
So
no.
now, right, there's a big exposure, I guess, to more people who are not from Atlanta or have been to
Mhm.
Atlanta, that the restaurant scene down there there's a lot of favoritism. If you are a celebrity, they roll out the red carpet, they'll do everything and anything so that they can get a little publicity off of you. But the regular residents of Atlanta are being treated like shit. Or even if you're just a common everyday somebody who has visited Atlanta, now all of a sudden this is what you're faced with just to get some food.
Yep.
And so I wanted to talk about this more because I feel like it's not just affecting Atlanta. I think they have kind of opened a conversation up of the service industry in general.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that further. And so, here in Canada, we have our own service industry and our, qualms with them, and our situations with them. So it's not as bad as Atlanta. We're not threatening to kill nobody over some
Mm.
biscuits. I'll just say that much. But
Mm.
what do you think about this and what's going on with Keith Lee and his review of the Atlanta restaurants? What do you say?
I see, and this is I have this rule. So from what I've gathered from listening to people who actually like influencers and stuff who either live in Atlanta or frequent Atlanta, yeah, they have a unique restaurant culture
Yeah.
because everybody there thinks that they're a celebrity. Let's put it that
Mhm.
way. And the thing is, if a restaurant, and that's like any popular urban city,
Mhm.
if a restaurant is popular, it's like it gets crazy. But I think what Atlanta's doing that
Mhm.
I don't know about anywhere else, which probably has people really pissed, is they have a lot of rules. So this,
Lots. Mhm.
for example, this the company, the excuse me, the Milk and Honey company, um that is getting a lot of, and the reason the Real Milk and Honey is getting a lot of um traction, and that's the video in Atlanta that got the most views, is because they tried, the Real Milk and Honey made a mistake, because after he
Mhm.
did the review where he just said, pretty much he showed they were closed, like they called ahead or whatever, and they said they can't, they don't take orders. So, that's already a red flag for me. You
Yep.
call ahead, they don't take orders, they don't do but you can probably do it through DoorDash or whatever, which is, that delivery app, right? And
They
then
tried that too.
when he went through DoorDash, it was closed through DoorDash. Then they said that eventually they must have went there and said that they restaurant, when they actually went drove there because they really wanted to try it, it was closed for deep cleaning, but people were still going in for orders. So then that was like, maybe those are orders that were done before. He said he wasn't sure. Long story short, he did end up I think going somewhere else or whatever, right? They tried, because after a while when they realized it was him, because like he said, similar to with Candy's restaurant, he sent his
Hmm.
family. Then when they realized it was him, then they tried to tried to think, but he's like,
Roll
no,
out
that's
the
not
red carpet for
the
him.
red
Yeah,
carpet. No, you want to know your general service, whether you think somebody's
that's right.
famous or whatever. But basically, the store, sorry, the restaurant had a sign at the front where they have a bunch of house rules. So I hate that. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a hotel, a vacation, or whatever. When these places have a lot of rules, like, you must come like this. Like, I don't mind the dress code. Like, I don't mind like, if you
Yeah.
have like a dress code, that's fair, right? That's your establishment. But like, you must come this. If you order, like, they have one where he says, if you order your meal, this is not a sampling. So we make sure we have high quality food, and we won't accept table food back. So example, like, if you go to a restaurant, normally if something you're not pleased, or something's not done the way you want it, or you ask for, you
Hmm.
send it back. None of that there. So that's one where it's like very brazen, and it's a way it's written. I actually want to, I wish I could, I want to look up, oops, I want to look up the rules to read, so we know how ridiculous. And this is common in Atlanta, because the thing is, they're so busy, right? I don't care how busy you are. That's a turnoff. If I go to make a restaurant, like say a reservation, and I go on your site to kind of look what the number is, and then you have a whole bunch of house rules, or even if I call and I'll be like, you cancel that reservation.
Right.
Just
And
cancel it right. Yeah.
while you look that up, I wanted to
Yeah.
know that Cardi B had something to say about this too. Now, Cardi B is from New York, right?
Yeah, they
And
have a home
so
there. Yeah, I think she has a home in Atlanta too,
she
right?
does have a home, but she's from New
Mm.
York. And
Yeah.
so she's lived her whole life in New York. And I have gone
Yeah.
many a times to New York, and how the food culture is there too.
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen it
yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
And some of it is similar to here in Toronto, how our food culture is as well. I don't think
Yeah.
we have that much of a culture, to be honest. Um, Depends on where you are. We
Mm.
might have a bit of one, but anyway, Cardi B had to say, these people ain't trying to make no damn money. They don't want to make no
Mm.
damn money. They're too damn
Mm.
bougie. She said they're too bougie down there. They're not really trying to make no money. They're trying to make clout. And I'm starting to think the same, that if you're going to have this preferential treatment for celebrities, then that's what you're focused on, is the celebrity possibly calling out your restaurant. Now, here's what I understand: that as a restaurant, you need, word of mouth goes far. That's the
Mm-hmm.
best form of advertisement, if you ask me, is word of mouth. So I
Of
can
course.
understand you treating a celebrity that chooses to come to your restaurant, giving them a little extra service. I get that. However, it shouldn't be so blatant that they're getting better service than anybody else that's coming up in here, because it's the regular schmegular people who are going to keep your restaurant afloat. A Cardi B coming in your restaurant is once in a blue moon. You
Yep.
understand? And so I don't think that celebrities should be treated any differently, but that seems to be a big part of their culture down there.
Yes.
That if
Yes.
you have a little bit, it didn't even have to be on the level of, anybody big. It
No.
just a little bit of clout coming your way, and they'll treat you differently. And you can see that with Keith Lee. And that's what he does not want. That's why
Yeah.
he sends in his family ahead of time, is because he wants to see how your service is overall. And he got to see how they treat people that have a little bit of a name to them. And he
Mm.
didn't like it. And that's his business. That's his right to have that opinion. Such like Cardi B. She said, nah, fam. They're not trying to make no damn money. There's been many a times where she's had to tell people who she's sent out to get food for her to drop her name in
Oh.
Atlanta. She's
Mm,
like, it's a whole to do. It's a big spectacle to go out to have something to eat.
mm.
Um, which is sad. You know, it
That's
is
sad.
sad because those businesses, you might get a little bit of clout, but what you gonna do once you got them there? What you gonna do? Serve them the dry ass biscuit?
Right?
You're not gonna do that. You're gonna give him the butter to eat with the biscuit. So miss me with it. Everybody, butter should be standard when you're getting a biscuit. Okay, it doesn't matter who you are. It should be a part of the biscuit experience. Okay,
Experience. Yeah.
so I'm just saying, like, this is getting crazy.
Yeah, so I found the house rules. And so particularly, so here's why the real milk and honey's really been getting roasted outside of like the experience, because he had a lot of questionable experiences. A couple, he had like more than just this was, and Lady Gang was a questionable experience. But they went on a video and say the owner had his daughter or a niece or somebody of a younger generation they made a video. I don't know if it's Instagram or TikTok, doesn't matter. And it's like kind of like a skit, and the guy goes, "Who's Keith Lee?" Right?
It's a
Little
stupid
did this,
ass skit.
it was very out of touch because, as you said, he has over 14 million followers on TikTok, over a million followers on Instagram. I don't know where else he is, but those are two big followings, right? And
Yep.
obviously, like you said, the news, this is being picked up on the blog. This is getting picked up everywhere.
And the
So it kind of
local
looks,
news, like, what the
and local
hell?
news. So it's pretty it's pretty dry. Like, just be like, your comeback is to assume that this guy is a nobody. And to your point,
Right?
with everybody who's listening to this episode has probably heard of this by now. But if you were to go look at his videos, they're very, I would say, factual. He's not trying to put down the restaurant. He's talking, he's like, I had an experience. This is it. This is just my experience today on this day. Maybe you, like you said, and I don't. He's not like, I don't see it as a hit on these restaurants. I think it's very like respectful. Even if you didn't get a respectful experience at the restaurant, it's very respectful. Anyway, so we're gonna go to the real milk and honey, the majuoka. So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
here's their house rules. We guarantee great food. Everything else is left to chance. We try our hardest though.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a first. That's
Wow.
rule number one. Okay.
Wow. That's what we're
Then we,
doing now.
and then
Mm-hmm.
in brackets they say we try our hardest, so we really do. Okay. Anyway, we do not provide individual checks. However, we will allow up to three forms of payment. An 18% gratuity of that's fine. That's typical. 18% gratuity added to parties of five or more, or checks larger than $105. That's pretty standard. No modifications to the top 10 brunch menu signature items. If you have a food allergy, please choose another item without the allergen. Woo! Damn. They said F your allergies. Number
Like,
five. Number five,
what the?
be
Mm-hmm.
nice. That's funny. It's ironic. Their number five rule is be nice. But these rules, the rules so far have not been nice. Number six, no reservations unless you're Barack Obama. And then
Excuse you? Okay. Okay.
and in brackets they say there's an exception to every rule. No table
Oh my
hibernation.
god.
No table hibernation, that's standard too for a busy restaurant. So pretty much you have a time limit on how long you can sit at the table. Usually in Toronto, most busy places is minimum, it's about an hour and a half.
2 hours. 2 hours, most
Or two,
places.
depend. I've been to places where it's been 90 minutes. It's crazy out there. If it's
Backside
really popular,
fiesta.
yeah, because I'm like, I always feel stressed. I'm like, oh God. But I usually sit down until they tell me to leave, and then you'll get up, you can buy yourself another 15 minutes.
Right?
Um, okay, number eight. If we prepare your selected item on their menus, on our menu specifications, we will not remove that item from your bill. Our entrees are not samples. That's the one I brought up. That was the one that's really going around. No parties larger than fours. No parties larger than four on days that end with Y. That's fiesty because every day ends in Y.
I don't understand what's going on here. Okay?
Yeah.
Are we in the business of making money? or not? You put all
Um,
like do you like okay.
and finally, we wait. There's one more rule. Okay, this is respectful. This is fine. I don't care. We have no waiting area outside. So pretty much, you're saying keep in mind our
Get
wait
in your
list.
car until you're loud inside.
Yeah,
Period.
that's what it said. Naps in your car are fine.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, this
Okay.
the tone of this. Okay, one thing to have rules, but the tone of these rules is a turn off for me alone. I would be like, what? They fuck you
Like,
then.
okay, here's my now here comes the part of this segment where we're talking about the service industry.
Okay, yes,
Because I'm of the school of thought that if somebody is coming to your restaurant to patronize your restaurant, they don't have to. They don't have to. There's a dime a dozen another restaurant around the corner. I don't have to be here. So the fact that I'm coming here should in itself treat me well. Okay? Now putting all of these circumstances and conditions and rules and regulations, you forget you're a dime a dozen. I could go to another restaurant. I don't have to stay here. I could go somewhere that is going to treat me like with some sort of level of respect as a human being that is coming to spend their money. In the time that we're living in, the fact that people are still going to restaurants and they're choosing to go to yours, you should be appreciative. Now, I'm
yeah,
not saying that you need to bow at their feet. That's not what I'm saying. However, what you're asking for is I'm taking a part in this experience. And the only part that I should be taking is paying for it. I'm not a part of the wait staff. I'm not a part of the cook staff. I'm not a part of none of that. I'm here to spend my money. Okay. And so if you want me to spend my money here, then you got to give me a reason to spend my money here. And when
yeah,
you have all these rules and regulations on me spending my money here, guess what? I'm going to go somewhere else where I don't have as many regulations. I'm going to cook
simple.
my food at home. Okay. Instead of having to spend it with you. Um, I think it's very rude, their list, but it's starting to be adopted by a lot of restaurants in the service industry. There's this expectation that I, the customer, okay, am a part of the ambiance and creating it, that I'm a part of the wait staff,
You
that I'm
just
a
said a
part
word.
of the cooking stuff. I'm not. I'm not. I'm paying for a portion of that experience. That's it. That's all. I move on and you have somebody else that comes in and fills my seat. If you're going to get involved in this industry, I think that it needs to be brought down to the basics. Now, does that mean that there aren't some assholes that go out to restaurants? Sure is. I'll give you a quick story. I remember me and my girlfriend many, many years ago, at least 15, 16 years ago, maybe even more. We went out with these two dudes. Okay. And this dude, okay, there's a very popular restaurant we have here, and it's called Markham Station. Markham Station is open 24/7, 365 days of the year. It never
It's a
closes.
post club favorite.
Right. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what we went. After the club, we decided to go over to Markham Station. My friend at the time was interested in this dude. He had a friend. We all go. This man had the nerve to start snapping his fingers for the waitress.
Oh no!
I was mortified.
Oh
I was
no!
mortified. I couldn't believe that he was so rude and obnoxious. I then said to my friend, I want nothing to do with this. I need to go. I'm paying my bill. Here's my $20 for my little chicken wing dam, and I'm
Mm,
going home because this right here is rude.
mm.
Well, the tables have turned, haven't they? Because now you're trying to tell me how to enjoy this experience. And I'm not paying you to tell me how to enjoy this experience. I'm paying you for the experience. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all. So I feel like these rules that they have here is a little ridiculous. It's um it's not
it's even
everywhere because in
yeah.
Canada that couldn't run. you'd be closed before you could blink. You understand?
The thing is, my issue isn't even really okay. House rules are common, but usually you probably have a couple. First of all, there's 11. I've read this. This is 11 rules. However, it's a me personally. The tone alone. Okay, first you have so many rules is one turn off. And second is the tone. Like the tone is very obnoxious. Like I don't want to go to a restaurant
Well,
where they're like,
I'm not trying to go to a restaurant that is every step of the way is trying to gouge me. Okay?
mm,
Because I ultimately think that what you're taking from is the server.
yeah,
So when you start gouging me $1 for butter, when you start gouging me $1 for a little sauce,
mm,
yeah, that's coming out of the tip of your waitress, right? So if the waitress is not giving me outstanding service,
ooh,
right, then I don't have to tip her outstanding money. I don't. I really don't. And my thing on tipping is in the service industry, I've been in the service industry before, and I believe that everybody should get a tip if you
yeah,
deserve it. If you deserve it, if you've earned it. It's a
mm,
job, just like anybody else's job. Just because you might be bringing the plate of food to my table doesn't mean that you can't finesse it. Doesn't mean
mm,
that you can't put a smile on. Doesn't mean you can't go the extra mile. That's when I'll give you the tip without a problem. I am a tipper, but
mm,
I am of the school of thought that a tip is earned. It's not a
mm,
right. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you to become a server.
yeah,
And if you're gonna become a server, right, you should do it to the best of your ability. If you're only going there because you're trying to see the local rapper come through the door, okay, and you're not really caring about the person's service, then this is the wrong industry for you. I believe that a tip should be earned. What I do, I don't get no tips. In
mm,
my job, I don't get no tips, right? But it can be said, well, yeah, you're on a salary and da da da. There's a lot of people in the service industry who are making below minimum wage. Their tips are their life and all of that. Well, if
mm,
that's the case, right, then you should be about your money. So you shouldn't be telling me you're going to charge me $1 for butter. You shouldn't be giving me an entree without a glass of water. You should
ooh,
be
that's
making sure that all of those things are met because it reflects in your tip. So if you give the service, you should be given the tip for that service. But I'm starting to feel like the service industry in general is like, well, you got it. Like for instance, I've gone to restaurants before and they try to roll the tip into what I'm paying. So they try to on the bill automatically include a gratuity of 18%. And I'm
mm,
like, wait, hold on, fam. Hold on. And they want you to look at the big number that's on the bill, not knowing that that already includes a tip. But
yeah,
some people don't look. This has happened to me.
mm,
When they include it, I see one number and then I add a tip. So now
mm,
you're getting double tipped out of me. And I don't like that shit because I don't like sneaky shit. I'm not a sneaky type of person. I'm a very straightforward type of person. So
yeah,
if it's broke down on the bill and I can see distinctively that this is a gratuity, then I'm
mm,
willing to, okay, all right. Okay, well, I don't think they deserve 18%. I'm gonna give you 15 because that's the
mm,
that's the type of service I got was 15%. Okay,
mm,
so that's the way
yeah,
I'm gonna give. But these people in Atlanta, they're taking a step too damn far. And
mm,
and to be honest, the response that they're giving this young man shows that I don't want to mess with your restaurant. I'm not trying to mess with your restaurant. This young man was respectful. He did not mislead anybody. He
mm,
gave you an honest review. And he furthermore made sure that the people who are following him, he told them, go do your own research. Go to the restaurant yourself. See what it's like for yourself. Don't just believe me, right? But I think it's a bigger thing in Atlanta
oh
because
yeah,
they're
it definitely
threatening
seems like
him.
it.
They're threatening him and all sorts of things.
But
And
you
I
know
think
what's
it was
funny?
uncalled for. Mm-hmm.
Somebody, a little bit before we started recording, I came across somebody who must have went to the Milk and Honey place and it was dead. That's a
See?
place that's usually popping off and it's dead.
Well, and
Woo.
that's what I've always learned. I worked at a movie theater many decades, it feels so long ago. But one thing that I learned in the service industry is that you never know who you're serving. So
Mm,
serve them, each and every person that comes in your contact, the same. You never know. You never know. And there have been times where I got a tip. I'm at the concession stand. And it's just because I said, "Here you go. Have a nice day. Enjoy your movie."
mm,
Oh, you can keep the change. Right? And it
yeah.
didn't take a lot. And I knew what my job was. I knew what my role was, you know? And in that particular concession stand, it's not like we were supposed to get tips.
No,
You
yeah, that's
understand?
different. Yeah.
It was because I was nice to them and they
Mm.
appreciated the service that they were like, "Oh, you just keep the change."
Did you do that?
And that happened to me many a times. Many a
Mm.
times where they're just, especially if it was like a mom and she had like a party with her kids or something, and I'm running around getting all the kids the popcorn and blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
One time I got a $10 tip
Mm.
because the woman was just like so appreciative, that I was, helping her. I was like, "Okay, here's your popcorn, little one," and da da da. I went over and beyond. I'm at a
Yeah.
concession stand, bro. I don't have to do none of this. I have to
No.
give you your popcorn, take the money, and dip. That's next. That's what I had to do. Okay, but I didn't do that, and
She
she just
appreciated that.
she was like, "Here, just you keep that. You
Mm.
keep that," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." you know um and I noticed that when you are a kind person, those are the ones that really make the money, the
Oh
ones that
yeah, of
go
course.
over and beyond. Don't get feisty with me when I come into the restaurant after the meal. After you've given me my meal, all of a sudden you want to be my best friend. All of a
Mm.
sudden now, "Oh, did you need anything? Did you want anything?" Nah, fam, I need the service from the time you see me.
Walk in. Yeah.
From the time you see me come in this joint, not after the fact. So, to the service industry, listen, I'm not talking from a place of not knowing. I know. I've been there. I've dealt with people not just in restaurants, but just, customer service, being, you know, in a clothing store. I've worked in clothing stores before, and
Yeah.
you can never know who you're dealing with. You never know who you're dealing with. I've literally seen some people walk in the door of a, I'm not going to talk about what name it is, but a very
Mm.
popular, thick girl store, and
Mhm.
they look trash. They look trash from the time they're coming in the door, bro.
You know what? I forgot you worked in retail.
I did.
I just,
That
I
was
was just
many
like,
years ago, when
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
hustling in the school thing. But no, I did retail. And one thing I learned was that you never know who's walking through that door. And in this story, this one particular woman, she came in every week and she looked like garbage. Like she didn't know how to put herself together. She didn't know how
Mm.
to keep herself clean and everything. But every time she come in there, she drop 1,000 easy
Mm.
on clothes, easy. So you wanted to see her come through the door, and you
Mm.
wanted to be the one that would help her,
Yeah.
because the commission that you're getting off of her dropping $1,000 was a lot. You know what I mean? It helped you. It boosted your sales, and
Mm.
so you can never judge a book by its cover. Just because you didn't see me on some social media app doesn't mean that I'm not nobody. Doesn't
There you
mean that
go.
I don't
That's
have
true.
money. You know what I'm
That's true.
saying? So that common look, his family, he has money. This man has money. Keith Lee, he has money. You understand?
Yeah, he
And
used to
he
be
sent in
a
his family.
professional. He used to be a professional fighter outside of being an influencer now.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. He
yeah.
has money, right?
Mhm,
You
mhm,
never know who's coming through that door. And he showed a primary example of that. You don't know whose family that is that you just turned away. You don't
mhm.
know. And now look. Now look. Now it's crickets in the restaurant. But anyhow, you know, maybe they'll learn something from this. Maybe I think the Atlanta scene had to be exposed for the nonsense.
Yeah. Ooh.
And Keith Lee had to do it, but he did it. I don't even think he intentionally
That
tried
was not the
to
intention. It's
at
not. He's not
all.
at all. It's just like I think he spoke to a pain point to people who are in the city, and like I think they say like Atlanta is known for a lot of black capitalism, and just like we know what's going on in Atlanta, and then everybody thinks everybody is important. Everybody's running their own small business. If everybody thinks they're important, if everybody thinks they're a celebrity, it breeds a certain culture. And I think
Right?
he just brought attention to a problem that was going on there, and so that's why it just blew up because everybody who's from there is like, "Yep, that's
Well,
how they
Keith
are."
Lee brought the service industry, the restaurant industry to their knees. And
Hmm.
now he had to get out of Dodge. My man
He
had to
did.
leave Atlanta quick, fast, and in a hurry because these people are threatening to kill him over a damn biscuit. And
Mm.
so with that being said, we're gonna wrap this up now. And people in the service industry, I think that, kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness. It always works. It always works. You can leave with your dignity still intact. You don't have to treat people horribly to make a point. And so, with all that being said, Keith Lee, get the hell up out of Atlanta quick, fast, please. Come
Please.
over here to Toronto and do some reviews. Come over here to Canada and see what's
Well, he
popping.
did. You know what? His one of his good reviews was a Jamaican restaurant. I don't know if you saw that. And so
Okay.
we have plenty of Jamaican restaurants here, Keith Lee.
Yes. Yes. If they have everything up on the menu. But
Oh,
anyhow,
look! So me not have that.
no, we don't have that. That done. We don't have no more coleslaw. We have to try something else. Yeah, because that's notorious. I would love for someone to review Jamaican restaurants here in Toronto because the food is out. The food is delicious. It's just there haven't been many West Indian restaurants I've gone to that it's not, but
Yeah.
it's if it's on the menu, if they have
Menu.
it. Okay, you could always get a rice and peas and chicken of some kind, but can we have a little bit of oxtail? We have to go tell the people who thief the oxtail to pass on the oxtail, see? Okay, yes. And so, with that being said, it was a great show, everyone. And so, we
Yeah.
do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So, whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful and stay the hell up out of Atlanta. Anyway, no, jokes. Talk to you real soon, everybody.
Bye.